coagulative necrosis. Sometimes maybe gangrene. Gangrene, it means the first step is necrosis. Maybe the arterial obstruction can cause the hypoxia, ischemia, and necrosis about the finger, maybe hand. And then the second step is infection. Yeah. In this area, in this necrosis area, you can say the bacterial infection called the gangrene. And organization. Yeah. It's also the granulation tissue, organization necrosis tissue. And sometimes a cavity can form a cavity. To show a kidney tuberculosis can cause the kidney formed many large cavity. It's also a consequence about the necrosis tissue. Here is the classification. Yeah, the tuberculosis in the lungs also can classification. About the pigment position, I can say hemosiderin position in the lungs. We means hemosiderosis of lungs. And some may be melanin. In our body, we have many melanin in pigment. It's also a endogenous pigment. But sometimes if the tumor cells can produce more and more melanin. This melanin also deposit in the cell cytoplasm and form a malignant melanoma. Melanoma, it means a tumor. Yeah, this tumor can produce more and more melanin. Okay, anthracosis. It's very easy. Some dirty or dust or maybe carbon dust deposited in lungs. It's outer pigment. Yeah. Exogenous pigment deposited in lungs. It's also simple. Tattoo. Yeah. It's also outer pigment. The last one is healing by first intention. It's also a repair of some certain operations. We can say the first intention, the healing by first intention of the skin. Just 3 slides today. These 3 tissue sections are about the necrosis and the granulation tissue. Okay. Here we say spleen. Can you recognize it's a spleen? It's a large spleen. Yeah, it's a large spleen. Sure. This growth specimen is fixed by formula. So you can see the color may be changed, but this area, this pale or white area, it's necrosis area. We can compare with the normal spleen. Here is the normal spleen color surface. This is normal, and this area is abnormal. Coagulative necrosis. We must know the important point. Coagulative necrosis, it means coagulation. The necrosis tissue coagulation can remain a structure. So this area is pale or white color. And we notice the border. Here is the border of the normal and abnormal. The border is very clear here. If it's a fresh necrosis tissue, the necrosis have a process. The first may be fresh, and then after a period of time, maybe old necrosis tissue. So when it's fresh, this border very clear, and sometimes inflammatory cells or maybe congestion. We just studied, congestion and the blood vessels dilation in this area. So we see a brown or red border. It's an inflammatory borders. around this area. Yeah. Here is also the border. It's very clear. But this, the right figure, is also a spleen. We can see the difference from them. It's also necrosis area, but here is pale or white fiber. Yeah, it's granulation from the many fibers around this area. This is fiber, so organization. It means the granulation tissue begin to organize the necrosis tissue, so can form a pale or white border. This border is many coloring of fiber in this area. Okay, this is the video. Here we can connect to a video. It's a very large spleen. You see, the Chinese character, it means the pale necrosis area. This is the hyperemia and the hemorrhage zone. Yeah, it's a black or black-red area. Okay, organization. It's also spleen. Yeah, it's a symbiosis member. Here, necrosis area, but the border is white or pale border. It means granulation tissue, more fiber organization in this area. It's also spleen. Yeah. Okay. Next, fat necrosis. I know we have know this radio, but just from this figure, you can see a fat necrosis of skin. Here is the skin, epidermis and dermis. This is fat. Yeah, subcutaneous tissues, many fat, but this area is a large cavity. Yeah, where is the fat tissue? Liquor 5. Yeah. This fat tissue necrosis and liquid. When you cut this specimen, it blew out. So we just remain a large cavity in this area. This microscopy also can see the fat cell. This fat cell necrosis or no nuclear in this area.